another chill chat conversation. It is literally the New Year's, guys. Like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that 2021 is literally coming to an end in just a few short hours. Like, where did the time go? I promise you, it seems as if the years are starting to literally just smack into each other. They're literally colliding into each other. And it's just like, you have to like look at yourself and be like, yo, are you fulfilling the things in life that you really want to fulfill? Because life is passing us, and if we're not willing to do anything about it, it's going to spin, and you're going to be left behind. Like, your life is going to leave you behind. At least that's what we're going to talk about today. So the topic that I want to bring to the chill chat table, the last topic of the year, is to stop overwhelming yourself by putting too many things on your plate. Oh my goodness. When I really started to just sit down and think about this, you guys, I started to realize that the more things you put on your plate, the less time you have in a day, the less time you have in a month, the less time you have within the year, and the less time you have in life. Why? Because you are constantly in this cycle of feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, and feeling like you are running out of time, literally. And let me just tell you, that's exactly what you're doing. You're literally running out of time. I thought of this, I don't even remember exactly what I was doing when this subject like smacked me in the face. I don't know if it's because, I've been on break from school, and, starting back school for me I was like on a super high, like, heck yeah, I cannot believe I'm doing this. I'm so excited. I'm starting a master's program. But y'all, when that first semester ended, when I say I was probably one of the most happiest people alive, like literally, like I was so happy that semester was over, because I don't think I really put into perspective the load that I was going to have to carry with school, work, and then starting the YouTube channel. Like, they have all been a blessing in so many different ways, in so many different aspects. But when you pull them all together, I literally was starting to feel like I had this big plate of spaghetti, and like all the noodles and the meatballs and the sauce was just starting to run over, and you have a big mess. You guys know how messy spaghetti is, so that's why I just put that image in your head, because it's literally like an overflowing plate of spaghetti. That's what I was feeling. And I didn't even realize I was feeling that until I got on this break, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I have a few hours in a day to just breathe, to just do me, to just relax and just lay down if I want to, or just watch a movie if I want to at a random time. Like, I didn't have to like think about, okay, I have an assignment due, or I have to do this or do that, or do this or do that. Like, guys, I'm telling you, when you start to pile stuff on your plate without putting it into the proper perspective, you are going to find yourself in overwhelming situations, and your stress is going to fly through the roof. And it's really about the perspective, because I was so excited about starting school that it took me a minute, for one, to kind of like just get into a daily routine of finally like, just figuring out a schedule of me going to work and then coming home and doing assignments and then blah, blah, blah. So it did take me a while to kind of get into that routine. And once I finally did, I felt like a little bit more calm, a little less stressed, but you can still see like everything was kind of like running together. And I can see how I was starting to kind of like feel forced in the way. Like, it wasn't like it was free flowing like it would if I would have kind of put into a better perspective of what my life was going to change into once I did start school and everything like that. And now I'm legit freaking out about next semester, because next semester, for one, it's going to be harder, and then two, we're starting our internship. So it's like, oh my gosh, Vanessa, what did you do to yourself? And it's like, it's all good things. And that's the thing that I think is so mind-boggling about it, is the fact that you can have so many good things going on, But just because they are good things doesn't make you less overwhelmed or less stressed. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, you can say I have something to show for me being overwhelmed or me being stressed, but just because it's a good thing doesn't necessarily always make it the right thing. And I say that carefully because I don't want you to think that, I'm saying that to exit out a lot of things in your day, but it's really about putting into perspective exactly what your day is going to bring and how you're going to prepare for the day. And I feel like, just through the chill chat conversations in general, tips and advice has been already given out how you can better plan for your day and how you can better go through your day, and just habits and skills that will make, your day easier. Like, I know we talked about all that, but it's just like, it has to be like a mind thing, because you can do something to the best of your ability all day long. You can plan, you can organize, you can create a daily schedule, you can figure out your purpose, you can do all those wonderful things. But if you're not putting it into perspective and shining a light of like understanding to what you're going to be walking into, you're going to find yourself in a position to where the good things are starting to look bad in your mind. And you don't necessarily want to knock out the good because your perception is starting to be bad. And so they sit there and think, and I'll be like, okay, I gotta do some self-check, because now I have to be forward thinking. I'm like, how am I going to prepare myself to walk into 2022 with this big plate of messy spaghetti? Like, how am I going to clean this up? Like, how am I going to clean myself up from all the spaghetti and like really start to put into perspective like my life? Like, how can I make the good things be good in my perspective? And I came down to a couple of conclusions of how I can make this better, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I know I'm not the only one that's trying to balance a doggone plate of messy spaghetti. So here we go, guys. The first thing that I came to realize is to really ask myself, are the things that I am doing, is it busy work or is it productive work? That right there is something that we often do not think about, because we can really tax ourselves to fill our days up with things to do just to have something to do. But it does not necessarily mean that we're being productive in everything we're doing. And that's like a wow and like a shocker. And it's kind of like, well, what the heck do you mean by that? If I'm doing something, I'm being productive. But you can set your day and be like, look, I'm going to clean this, and I'm going to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And those are all great things, probably things you need to get done. And if it is Monday and you know that you're going to need certain things to be done on Friday, for you to do them on Monday and not Friday, everything that's going to be in between is going to be stressed. Because if I clean up the house on Monday and I know that there's either a little one running around or there's things being thrown around, from Monday through Thursday, and I know I have to do something on Friday, I'm going to really frustrate myself, because I'm going to be thinking in my head that I literally just cleaned up Monday to prepare for Friday, and there was all those days in between that I didn't even think about. And who's the stress going to fall on? It's going to fall on me, because even though I did something productive or I was doing something good on Monday, that don't mean anything till Friday unless you literally just kept your house empty or whatever the case may be. That's just a light example, but whatever the case may be, you can fill your day with things to do. But is it actually productive? Are you actually being productive? You can set out to do something, but is it working towards one of the goals that you have set for yourself? That's the big question. So it's a lot of times we are doing things to keep ourselves busy or for the sake of doing something, instead of actually doing things that's going to be productive to us, that's going to fulfill a goal that we have, that's going to better arrange our schedule. We're just doing all these things and we're not putting into perspective what we should be doing. So for my example that I just used, it would be better for me to do some light cleaning on Monday. That's productive. I can do some light cleaning. I can get some things done. But on Thursday or Friday morning, I need to plan for whatever I need to plan for on Friday to actually make that a productive thing that I'm doing, and I would actually be less stressed from it. There is no point of you doing something just to be doing it for the sake of doing it, and you're not reaping any real benefit from it. I can study for a test on Tuesday and my test be due by Sunday. And if I only study on Tuesday and I leave all those days in between until Sunday and I go take the test Sunday, what is that really going to profit me if that's all that I'm doing? So yes, studying is a good thing. It is something that I'm doing. But am I really doing something that's productive? Really what I need to be doing, I need to be doing a little bit each night. I can't just do something on Tuesday, but have everything I need for my test on Sunday. So I would either need to do a little bit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, do it like that, or have like a big study session Friday and Saturday. It would not bring me any benefits to just do something on Tuesday, leave out the rest of the days, and then on Sunday be like, hey, I'm ready. Like, if you're a person that can do that, kudos to you, because my mind doesn't work like that. Like, my studying tips is literally flashcards. Like, I go back to the flashcards. I'm a basic person. Like, flashcards work for me. You have to find out what works for you. But anyway, for the sake of the example, we can, like I said, we can fill ourselves with so much busy work. But if we're not being productive, we're going to feel very overwhelmed, and we're going to feel very stressed. Another good example for that, for you guys who do have little ones, if you get up in the morning and you decide to clean your kids' room, and they're going to be home all day, at the end of the night, you're going to be pretty mad at your own doggone self, because you're going to look at their room at the end of the night and you're going to ask yourself, why did I spend an hour and a half cleaning their room this morning when I should have thought about that they were going to play in their room the whole day? So that's just another simple example. I know parents know exactly what I'm talking about, which is why I use that example. Do not set yourself up to be overwhelmed and frustrated and stressed out with your own self because you're doing busy work and you're not putting in perspective what you can do to actually be productive. So that is number one. The other thing that I came to realize is, am I leaving myself enough time to literally be able to walk away from all of my overwhelming tasks? I say that because sometimes we can get so invested in what we're doing and we're stressing ourselves out because we're not taking that little bit of time to walk away from it and then return back to it. For some, that could be a distraction, and for others, it could be exactly what they need to not be overwhelmed. For a simple example, you can go through your day and you can literally just be following your daily routine, and you're saying, okay, I got this scheduled at 1 o'clock, I got this scheduled at 2 o'clock, I got this scheduled at 3 o'clock, and this at 4. You can be scheduling yourself something every hour. But if you don't take the time to just leave yourself some time to just sit and think and breathe, you're going to find yourself very overwhelmed and very stressed out, because you're going to walk through your days feeling like you're doing everything in your day, and there is no time for you to rest. There is no time for you to spend with yourself. You're going to feel like you're doing everything for everyone else instead of taking care of you, which is where self-care comes in. If you haven't watched my video on self-care, I definitely recommend that you watch it, because self-care is used for relieving yourself of stress and literally decreasing the amount of overwhelmness that you feel. Especially if you're like a single parent, because I see this a lot, or I hear this a lot when I talk to single parents about how they feel like they're walking through their day doing everything by themselves, and they barely have any time for themselves, especially like if school is out. Or I know during the pandemic there was a lot of talk about that, with kids having to be home for school and parents had to all of a sudden become teachers. It was just a really stressful and overwhelming time for the parent and the child, you know, because it was like all this stuff was going on. The day was piled up and literally filled, and it seemed to be no time just left for you. And so I see this a lot with single parents. They get to the point where they're just doing, and they forget to take that time, 10-15 minutes in between their tasks, and be like, okay, let me just sit, let me just have my coffee, let me just watch something funny, you know, anything that you can do that can just kind of push stress out and bring positivity in. It is really important for you to be able to take those moments throughout the day, those little sections of time throughout the day, to spend with yourself, so you're not feeling like your life is literally being lived for other people, because that's what's really going to come out. You know, you're going to find yourself so stressed and so overwhelmed that you're going to start resenting, you know, your responsibilities. You know, I mean, parents get really frustrated with their children, like literally really get frustrated with their children, because they're not implementing those little sections of time when the kid is napping. That could be the time. Don't just be doing stuff to just be doing it. Take time for yourself. It is going to bring you so much more of a benefit, because you're telling yourself, I care about this, this, and this, and I also care about myself. When you start to feel that you're caring about yourself, literally stress starts to decrease. The feeling of overwhelmness starts to decrease, and everything around you becomes more positive, and then that turns into you being more productive. So make sure that those little blocks of time throughout your day that you can just sit and be one with you, please do it. My time, especially throughout the week when I'm at work, when it's lunchtime, if I can leave the building, I would leave the building and sit in my car and just do something, whether I'm watching YouTube or whatever. I just try to do something for me and just like relieve myself of the environment that I'm in, because it allows me to just take a breather. It allows me to feel like I'm not in a place where I have any responsibilities because I'm on my break. Because usually when you sit inside, you know, someone may knock on the door or something like that, and it doesn't really feel sometimes like a break because it's interrupted. And so if you remove yourself from that stressful situation, or a situation where you feel like you are the authority figure or that you have some responsibility, remove yourself away from it, so that way you're actually yourself time to just sit there and breathe and be one with you and just calm down, you know, basically. And I mean, nothing even has to be stressful going on. It's just the fact that you are being mindful of yourself and you're taking those moments to just being with yourself. The last thing that I came to realize is not being so willing to just give yourself to any and everybody. I say that because it is so easy for us to go throughout our day literally focusing on just everything and everybody else, instead of what is actually going to make us feel less stressed and less overwhelmed and more productive. We see this a lot with people pleasers, and I know I've mentioned people pleasers a lot in my videos because unfortunately there is an increase in people pleasers. And being a people pleaser myself, I noticed that I was spending so much time trying to please everybody that I wasn't taking the time to recognize how stressed I was doing that and how overwhelmed I was doing that, and actually how less productive I was doing that. Because just because I feel like I'm pleasing them in a way doesn't mean that I'm actually meeting their satisfaction. It doesn't mean that I am giving them the quality of even what they want. And all that pressure and all that stress falls on me as the people pleaser, because they already know they can come to the people pleaser and ask them to do any and everything. And because that person is a people pleaser, they're going to find a way to try to do it. But that's no guarantee just because you do it that you're actually meeting the standards of someone else. So when you start to try to meet the standards of everyone else, besides those things that will meet your actual standard, you'll start finding yourself way more stressed and way more overwhelmed, because there is no guarantee that you're going to satisfy everyone. There is not even a guarantee that you're going to satisfy yourself all the time. Can you believe that? Yeah. Even when we talk about self-care, it is not a guarantee that every time you sit yourself down to do something for self-care that you're going to be extremely satisfied. You wanna know why? Because there's always going to be distractions. You're always going to have to force yourself to actually just be in the moment and be mindful of you taking care of yourself. And so, because there are so many distractions that we bring on ourselves, and then unknown, factors to that as well, sometimes we can't even guarantee that we are satisfying ourselves in that way, even when we go to do self-care. So when you think about how you may or may not be satisfying yourself all the way, how can you really just 100% satisfy someone else? So you're giving pieces of yourself away that you really don't have to give, especially if you're a people pleaser, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're only doing that because you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, or you don't want conflict, or you don't want this, or you don't want that. Y'all know the reasons. If you're a people pleaser, you know the reasons why you're being a people pleaser, whether that be trauma or whatever the case may be. You're only doing that to make the other person feel good and to take the pressure off for you. But that's not what you're doing at all. You're literally adding pressure to you. So the more you give yourself, you stretch yourself thin for the sake of everybody else or everything else, you're going to find yourself very stressed and very overwhelmed. And I think that's what I was doing consciously. I did not realize that I was going to be stretching myself so far. And so now I had to really just sit down and be like, okay, Renessa, what are we going to do different this time? What are we going to do that is going to decrease your busy work and increase your productivity? Because I want to walk into 2022, and I hope that you guys want to walk into 2022 doing something completely different and literally decreasing your stress levels and decreasing the amount of time that you are overwhelmed. And if you really just sit down and think about those 3 things that I said, I think that we can remove or at least decrease a big amount of the stress and the overwhelmness that we are feeling, because we are taking more time to be mindful of the things we are doing, why we are doing it, when we should be doing it, for whom we're doing it for. And in turn, you find there is more positivity, there is more productivity, and there is less stress and overwhelmness. Stop giving yourself and your time to just any and everything. Stop doing it. Stop. I'm talking to myself too. And I'm really serious right now, because like I said, I see all the time just how far we as human beings just stretch ourselves so far for the sake literally of other people instead of ourselves. And sometimes we do it to ourselves too. We need to stop doing that. If someone say, I want to spend quality time with you, put yourself in a position where you're actually spending quality time, not just spending time. And that's the mistake that we're making. We're spending time, or we're doing things, but we're not spending quality time, and we're not being productive. And from there, we find ourselves being very stressed and very overwhelmed. And we look at ourselves and be like, for what? Why do we just do all that? Why do we just send ourselves through this type of misery? And then on the opposite end of that, those relationships that you're involved in, with your children, with your husband, your significant other, your family, your friends, whatever the case may be, you're giving less to them, those people who actually mean something to you, because you're giving most of your energy to things that doesn't really mean anything to you. That's why I say stop doing that. Stop doing less in 2022. Try to be more mindful of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what is it actually benefiting us. and what is it benefiting those who are getting things from us? So that is going to be my challenge. Like I said, I'm going to 2022, hopefully with a whole new perspective. And I hope that these videos have an empowerment to you, that have said something that will encourage you to think in a new way, or allow you to put things into a new perspective. Because I really do think that it's time for us to stop wasting our time on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, because time is passing us by. It is passing us by so fast. And I don't want to realize that how much time I actually wasted. Like, I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to look at my life and look at it as a failure, or see so many missed opportunities. I already done that already. You know, I've already taken a little trip down memory lane and realized where I could have been more productive, or could have came out of my comfort zone more, or I could have jumped to more opportunities, or I could have had more experiences. I've already done that. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that anymore. And I would hope that you would take this journey with me, because I feel like that would just cause us to be just a more positive and more empowered people. And so I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. I cannot believe once again that it is literally in a few hours going to be 2022. But you guys, I pray that the rest of your New Year's Eve be absolutely amazing. I pray that your perspective going into 2022 be better than it was in 2021, and that we are able to just be an encouragement to ourselves and to others. Until next time, actually until 2022, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day.